So hello, welcome to what is going to be the CRL Iceberg video. It is the 5-year anniversary of the CRL coming up, and to do so, we figured we would talk quite a bit about some stuff that has happened over the years, things that we remember, things that we sort of remember. And I mean, we're going to go on a hell of a derail throughout the course of this. There's going to be a lot of talking and a lot of stuff down memory lane as we try to not make this too long. So it's going to be a plethora of the mods are actually here. I think this is actually the most amount of mods I've seen it call it once in quite a while. So you got us. There's going to be some late additions. I think Mello and Cher might be dropping by later on. But until then, we're going to have tier 1 of the video of the Iceberg, and we're going to kick things off with the inception of the league. Does anyone want to kick us off on this one?
Yeah, I made a whole video about this for the 3-year anniversary. If you want to put that link on the video right now.
Years ago?
Yeah, for the 3-year anniversary.
That was 3 year? That was
for the 3-year anniversary.
Yeah, because
I remember I joined because of the Reddit post.
Yeah,
I think that was the second wave, right? Because I wrote the second Reddit post, like the main public one. I think that pulled almost everybody in because we did.
Yeah, Jimz's video definitely goes into it, but it was like the first Reddit post was like a comment where someone was saying, "Oh, someone should make a rec league," and then I think Mello started it or something. Yeah. And then there was the second wave of Reddit posts where it had all of the team names and logos as an image, and that's when a lot of us ended up joining.
Yeah, so Mello originally made the server. He just replied to that Reddit post as a comment, said, "Hey, I made a server, join up if you want to." Had maybe like 60, 70 members in the first day or two, and then it was Mello Aid, Chairforce that were organizing all of it, and then Mike Shio on day 1 as well. We ran 2 weeks of just straight like mixed style pickup games, and we just organized all the match times and all the teams. And then we realized that's really not sustainable after a huge drop off going into week 2. So that's when we made the Reddit post with all the logos and the format and everything. Like you had mentioned, we announced a Swiss format, all that, and we'll link that Reddit post in the description of the video or put it a link somewhere. And then, yeah, that kicked off the first league. That was MW19 Season 0. It lasted 4 weeks, Swiss system, out of the very, very, very tail end of MW19. And then we just rolled on through with it with that format until we eventually grew enough to where we could do a really good pool, like a pool play system. And the pool play system was Cold War Season 2. So since then, since early 2021, we've been running with the pool play system, but it was Swiss before that.
And this was 5
that Reddit post went crazy.
That Reddit post did go crazy.
We grew like several hundred members overnight.
Yeah,
it was a top 10 Reddit post of all time on the COD competitive subreddit for a while.
I think
there was no COD to play at that time. It was all just CDL Mosh Pit. That's why, bro. It was the perfect time.
It was like peak COVID. It was like the perfect storm.
You know, we have Bert to thank for the logos that we still use today. Some of them have been updated, but I mean, he's done like Bert's legacy on this league is basically like will never be understated at this point. Like everything about him is still here.
I feel like this can segue good into Shio took our Daddies because that was the same season, right?
Somebody DM'd me after dedicated servers were removed from the game and asked me why I took away the dedicated servers. And to this day, I'm still absolute stunlocked. Like this guy was fully convinced I had taken away the servers. And I was just like, that wasn't me. It just wasn't me,
for 5 years.
I don't know what to tell you.
Oh yeah. So if I remember correctly, it was week 2 going into week 3, and the beta was right around the corner. And I think they reallocated the dedicated servers to be used for the beta.
For Cold War beta.
And private matches outside of those dedicated servers in MW19 were absolutely horrendous. And no one could host. Everybody was skipping around the map. Matches were a complete joke. A lot of teams dropped out after that week because they either didn't qualify for the final or like dedicated servers just made the game completely unplayable. So it was a big deal that they got removed and people were mad, just, rightfully so. But there are some people that, I should say one person that legitimately thought Shio was the reason that dedicated servers were gone.
And to this day, it's been memed about.
The league had been around for less than 2 months. and they thought we had that kind of pull.
I mean, I appreciate him thinking that I had the power to do that, but like, it's still.
Shio, you gotta apologize,
dude. Every time the servers go down, it's like, oh, sorry guys, I decided you weren't gonna play today. Took down the servers. No deadies today. I guess on that note, we have another one there. People thinking teams played out of the cities. They thought it was geographical. We had more than one player, and this was like one of our original bans. I think we'll probably go into it later. But we had a player that we did end up banning because for other reasons, but he was also 100% convinced that it was geographical and refused to play for London because he's from Atlanta and didn't want to ping. I mean, I get we were new at the time. I don't think he was
the only one either.
He wasn't. It came up more than once in those first few months. Like, people were 100% convinced that they're like, you got to put a team in my city because that's where I am. It's like, that's not how that works. I can move us on. We got it's another meat topic. Shio push-ups, which I think to this day,
Shio push-up discussion.
I think another 400 or so push-ups, which like I'm not recording it, but I do like 15 an hour, like on a work day. So like I probably have made it back. I just haven't like recorded any like on video like what I used to. But yeah, background on this. This was a channel points reward when we were trying to figure out what we were going to do with these channel points. I think it's gone now, actually. I don't remember why we took it off. Maybe I should put it back. It was like Shio does 10 push-ups for like 1,000 points. And I mean, we never got the automatic counter going, but like it was just anytime somebody did it, we just add to the counter, and then I record myself doing push-ups. And there's a couple of videos of that on the YouTube channel somewhere of literally just me doing push-ups.
Because I remember he had so many at one point that they changed it to like 10 push-ups for 5,000 points. And then even then it was still too much. So they just changed it to an impossible number so he could actually catch up.
Yep. Next topic. Our other leagues. Or sorry, Jake.
Yeah, I was gonna say should we lump all the other leagues into one topic?
Halo probably gets its own shout because it's still alive. Halo was
because Halo broke our website.
So Halo Season 1 was done on Google Sheets because the website was broken and I had to transfer all that data, I think, later on. I don't remember if I did. But Halo Rec League was like, we see Halo Infinite coming out. There is an opportunity here because Halo's been dead for, 2-3 years, I think, leading up to that or something like that. It was kind of dead. So we thought, well, we'll branch into Halo, see how it goes. We knew nothing about Halo. I proceeded to reach out to several community figures and basically get one-on-one coffee chats with them to be like, please tell me things about Halo because I don't know anything and we're trying to get in. And we were basically the first league. I think we're the longest running league actually right now because there was basically no one else at the time when we started. And the league's only popped up relatively recently. Yeah. So like the 4-year run we have right now is I think the longest.
Yeah, unless there were legacy leagues that had started up something smaller, like we definitely had the biggest footprint right off the gate because we had so much of the Call of Duty crossover and people that wanted to play.
Yeah, the crazy thing about Halo 2 was like not Halo 2 the game, but like Halo Infinite. It had a release date for December of that year. I think was it 2021.
Yeah,
but they shadow dropped it in November on the Halo CE anniversary.
Mm-hmm. And that went
they shadow dropped it. So we were scrambling to get the league up and running because we were like, okay, it's coming out in December. No, out of nowhere that day in November it comes out, and it's crazy how fast everything.
I forgot about that. They got everything running so fast, and it was actually like a good game on launch. But then they just never.
I miss Bizarre CTF.
Updated anything after that, so it kind of fell off.
CTF is a wild work.
Yeah, that is a hot take.
I miss the BR. That's not a hot take.
There was a couple mini seasons that were pre-made.
Yeah, we did like test seasons, like 2 short seasons, and then season 3 was like the full proper season. I think we started charging in season 4. I mean, Halo still maintains like some 70 teams. Like it's a consistent like 70 teams each season. So honestly, it's still kind of alive. It's still there. I mean, at this point, Halo is probably one of the ones I'll like until it's completely dead. I will keep operating it just because it's all they got. Like Halo does not have much going for it these days. All right, Apex. I will admit, I literally started Apex because I got very into Apex in this time frame, and I was like, and I watched a lot of Apex in a very short period of time, and I was like, this is freaking cool. I'm gonna make a rec league for this, and we ran a tournament like once a month. It was actually pretty consistent. We ran like 10 straight months. of tournaments.
Going well. And then I
Um,
remember like one team won like 7 in a row.
I think we've had 13 in tournaments. I think one team won 5 of them, and another team won 4. But it was like, honestly, I'd try to bring that back again. I don't know how lively it would be. Like, we got up to the point where we had like 2 group stages of like, we had like 2 pools, 40 teams. You play for top 10 to go to the finals. Like, it got sizable at one point, but we just couldn't refill the league. We had a Diamond 2 cutoff, and everyone became too good practicing for this tournament. We didn't have anyone to replace them.
All right.
Yeah, thanks for that reminder. I didn't write that one down. Valorec, and we'll move on. We got to move it.
Valorec is my Valorec is the thing that I'm saddest that failed. Valorec is so lit.
We don't have numbers now, but like I do want to bring that one back.
Yeah, Valorec, the timing could not have been worse for us because as we were launching our first season, I don't know why I was about to say Valve, Riot had announced that they were doing Premiere for Valorant.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they did kind of obliterate us.
League system. Like their in-game, like it pretty much took away everything, that Valorec had going for it. The reason why the Rec League works so well for COD is that there's no structure like that built within the game, and our community is like more grassroots. It always has been, but with Valorant, like it's just made from the ground up to be an esport. They support their esport within the game itself. Like we had no chance. So basically the same month we were launching Valorec, they launched Premiere, and that pretty much killed it right away. But we had a couple seasons.
Another part of that too is like our biggest launch platform for the CRL was Reddit, and we had approval from the Valorec Reddit mods to put a post in there with all the team logos and structure and everything. It got taken down in 20 minutes, and they relaunched the post at like 2 or 3 in the morning, like 12 hours later. So it got absolutely zero traction. The Twitch category for Valorant is very, very saturated, so it's very hard to push your stream up high. MW19, when you're streaming to 30 players in the last month of the game, you're at the top of the category. So we just had a lot of traction for Call of Duty, whereas Valorant, all the social media stuff we did for CRL just didn't work. Like a lot of Valorant was just the Call of Duty players coming over, the Call of Duty and Halo guys just coming over and starting that up. I think peak was like 40 teams.
Yeah, like all things considered, we actually fielded all the teams. Like considering like we did have mixed and pre-made, we had 3 to 4 skill divisions for each. Yeah, we fielded I think up to 50 teams at one point. And then I think our most recent season was 20. So like the skill divisions are kind of collapsing there. All right, last topic. Yeah, I forgot. Level 1 was basically stuff everyone knows or is insignificant fun history. The last topic we got is the commercials. Shout out Bert. I mean, those commercials date back all the way to the start of the league. We've been talking over the past 4 years. I'm pretty sure every year we're like we're gonna make some new ones, and then we never do it. I think the what is it? The Australia, like New Zealand Air from like the beginning of Black Ops 6 idea. I wish we did something with that. I guess they're still probably could.
That was such a good idea. We never acted on it.
Yeah, we never actually acted on that. The Valentine's thing when you can take someone hostage was another idea, but like I don't know, maybe there's still a chance for New Zealand Air. There's still a chance for New Zealand Air. Maybe I should actually do something with that, but we'll see.
That would be so relevant like for the launch of BO6.
Yeah, for the launch of the new one.
New Zealand Air.
Yeah, but we had those commercials. I mean, those are like legendary. Like those have kind of spread. Oh, like I mean, we're trying to put more stuff into the BRB screen now. That's not just the commercials because people have been watching the same thing for 5 years. But like,
and they're still fire though.
They are still fire.
They still
like,
go crazy.
CDL casters know about those. Like, I guess that's another thing.
Only one of the commercials was outsourced, right? It was the ray gun commercial.
Yeah,
right?
Ray guns.
It was still written by us.
We hired a singer.
Yeah, we did hire a singer for that one. Everything else was actually made by us.
I feel like were such a good, like, kind of a good reason why we grew so fast and why that set us apart from other leagues. Like, obviously, the concept of having a league for a esport is not new, but when people tune into our stream and they see silly stuff like that, it really like sets us apart. It actually feels like a full production and not just people playing a game. I think that's a good segue into the next section.
All right. The tier 2 unveiling. Here we go. All
I like
right.
this tier. I like this tier.
This is a good tier.
And
This-
so
Sorry.
tier 2 is going to be like, it's pretty well known to if you've been around for a while, but if you join the server post Vanguard, COD Vanguard, like so post, I guess if you join the server in 2023, you probably won't know what any of this is.
First thing,
It's kind
right
of
off
for
the
OGs.
rip.
Fun
We
category.
should start top left, low key.
Top
The
left.
first
You
CRL
want to do
meetup?
it? The first CRL meetup? I mean, I guess we call it official just because it involved us. New York 2022 Vanguard Major, where we crammed, what, 13 of us into an Airbnb?
So it was 11 people that Airbnb.
It was 11.
It was 11 people
we
that
recorded
Airbnb.
our first in-person content there in the map guesser. It was the first time we had met, any of us basically had met in person.
And New
But-
York
Great.
seemed like such a vibe, and I wasn't even there.
Yeah,
It
that
was.
was
It was some good moments.
Yeah, so like I mean, a lot of things coming to fruition there, right? Like it's in the Northeast. That's where a lot of our player base is. It's heavily populated by a ton of people from the league. It was probably the most accessible major for everybody. Like once things started opening up after COVID, I think that was the big thing. People were just like really excited to get out and go somewhere, and New York was a good destination for that. There's probably a good 50, 60 members of the league that ended up going
Yeah,
to
there was
that.
a lot of people in
event that
attendance
we
at that
met.
event.
Like we had 2 or 3 rows of the entire venue just CRL members, which was really, really cool. We met a lot of great people there.
That was actually crazy. I do regret, I know we talked about it prior, that we wanted to get a flag of some kind for everyone in attendance to sign, or a jersey. I think we've started doing a jersey since, but like I regret not doing
I
something
have-
for that.
I have the jersey in my closet.
Oh, you do? Okay. I
Yeah.
can remember. That was a
Yeah,
great one.
I need to get it framed. I never got it framed.
Yeah, the Airbnb
When you
was
guys
a vibe.
when you guys first started planning for that, did you know that it was going to be like that big, where like that many people showed up? Because that's hella people.
No.
No, not at all. It was we had talked about it like it was going to be kind of the first meetup. But there was still a lot more people there than I had anticipated.
For
For
New
the
York.
TAC maps.
So that was Bert's brainchild. Original TAC maps was all Bert. Made it in Game Maker. So the original version of TAC maps was an application that you had to download. People got very upset at us that it wasn't available on Macs. Eventually it was available on Mac, but that blew up. That was another top Reddit post, I think, that when we released that like to the public, like that absolutely took off. And I guess to this day is probably one of our biggest, I would almost argue it's a bigger competitive contribution than just us existing, just because of how much it gets used at the tier 1 and tier 2 level.
I bet so many people don't even know that you made TAC maps. Like people know TAC maps, and they do not know like that Shio
don't.
made TAC maps. You know what I mean?
It's funny because because I work challenges events now, and like just talking to coaches, and they literally bring it up in front of me to like argue
That's cool.
like spawns.
Yeah.
Like I've had it happen where someone literally pulls it up and is just like, we want like to argue with the other coach about sides, and I'm like, no, I made that.
I think I made.
It's like, oh, and like, I mean, there's, several of the tier 1 coaches use it. I mean, famously, like Phoenix uses it, Marky Bees uses it. It gets used in Minnesota and like Rocker Camp.
JP uses it.
Yeah, JP uses it. I think he
uses
switched off, but I mean, he did use it for a while. A lot of the tier 2 coaches use it. So that was like a really cool thing to like expect. Like at Challenger Champs this year, like I think over half the teams in attendance used it in some form. So like that was pretty cool. Yeah, to this day, I mean, we throw it all up as fast as we can basically on game release. The call outs come a little after that. But it's just, yeah, we throw up TAC maps, get it up there, and people have access to it. We might be redoing it again a third time, so it works on mobile devices, but it's up there, and it is kind of like a crazy like thing that's evolved over the years into just something that people use regularly at higher levels, and it's just kind of crazy to think about, to be honest.
It's really funny that it just started from the rec league. Like we thought our players would use it. And it just gets
they
adopted
do.
by people.
They do
that are
actually
just
do
using
use it, but yeah.
Yeah.
But apparently it is a better tool than copying and pasting a map picture and putting it into Microsoft Paint. All right, Miles cast with Bobby was unfortunately a
Right.
fast 3-0. I'm still to this day upset about that fact.
Interesting how that all like unfolded. I think Corey I keep saying Corey, but Chairforce just hit up Miles on Facebook, didn't he? I think he was in a stream a couple times, was talking to him, and just like hit him up on Facebook, and Miles was like all over it.
Something like that.
And I
mean,
they're
they're basically
that was
friends
more
now.
or less the inception. Yeah, no, they play games together all the time. The Miles cast was a big milestone. I wish it was only that one map or that one series that night. He couldn't stay on for the second series, but it was, I mean, to have that kind of person come in and do just to cast for the league, and it's our third season. I want to say that was season 3 of Cold War back in 2021. And to get a shout out on stream like a week or two later, like during the online qualifying matches was pretty sweet. Miles is a great guy, still a great friend of the Rec League. Haven't had a chance to get him back on to cast since, but
I've
Shout
talked to him
out to Rec
since. We are
League.
getting him
I was
back.
busy.
He
He
has
shouted
said
out
he
the
wants
Rec
to come
League on
back.
Eavesdrop.
Speaking
Oh,
of
yeah, that's
shout
right.
outs, when I went to Texas for the optic major during Modern Warfare 2, and that's when the burgers were playing on and challengers. They ended up getting streamed for one of the matches, and Shift also made a shout out to the Rec League.
I do remember that actually. Yeah, they were. It was like the first stream match of the day too, or something like that.
Yep.
And yeah, like Shift actually talked quite a bit about us, honestly. So like that was pretty cool. Next topic, podcasts. There's been a few
quite
of them
Quite a
over the
few.
years.
Oh,
I think 100 Point Club was the first one. It only lasted
I think so too.
3 episodes. I think 3.
That's a
There's
great
me.
name for a podcast.
It was me. I think I was the first guest. I think it Jimz. Did you get one?
I don't think I did a episode of that.
Okay,
No.
I remember. And the third episode was Optic Cobalt. It's freaking
I know who that
Polybeans.
is. Wait, we had him on the podcast.
Yeah, he was the third episode.
Hella
And we
props.
had, and then of course we had the Pood. It was just like
A food.
Shout out
it
to
was just
Food.
like a placeholder name because we didn't know what to call it at the time, and we were just talking like Call of Duty news and match results and a little bit of We didn't really
paint
talk as
graphics.
much about CRL results as we needed to. We did do like one episode where we brought in champions from the most recent season.
That was a good episode.
Yeah, no, that was a good episode, but I just feel like none of us were chronically online, and so we don't know the news and the leaks and everything like as well as just some other, I guess, podcast knows, and we just weren't saying anything that wasn't like game breaking and yeah, no, you're right. And we went into the off season, there was nothing going on. Rostermania was dead, and we just weren't really interested in the topics, and then we just never got it going again. Jake, what about the pre-show?
Dude.
Yo, what a
Well, the
time.
pre-show happened for a little bit. I think about this nowadays, and like I don't know why people even watch the pre-show. Shout out Brendy for making those power rankings, because that was about half of the show, 100% of the time. The pre-show was fun. I mean, like I feel like what we could have done with the Pood is like when I was doing the pre-show, I was trying to spam guests just so other people would watch it. You know what I mean? It's like that was fun. I mean, in Vanguard, and then Brendy stopped doing power rankings, so we had nothing to talk about. It's kind of similar to the Pood. Like we had nothing to talk about, and then the tier lists. We started doing tier lists, but it was a fun time. I mean, it's fun to get the community involved.
I guess on podcast
Dude,
topic, you got to shout out Rec Center as well. And our head of content
Oh, bro!
produced
Shout out Rec Center,
some
bro.
pretty good Rec Center episodes. I
The
actually
goat,
don't know how
the
many were
goat,
made, to be
Bobby.
honest. Man, I should have dragged him in here specifically for Rec Center. But they wrote like whole scripts and everything for that. Like they actually put a lot of work into that. And then it was like one episode every 3 months. All right,
Shout out to
Boston
you, by the way.
lands.
Oh man, this Boston LAN was my favorite event I went to. I love the city of Boston.
So it was Breach hosted MW2 and MW3 events in Boston.
Yep.
In like the coldest part of the winter, February.
Oh,
dude,
for
it was-
MW2 and MW3.
Dude, that
Oh,
first
dude.
event was
Again,
crazy.
like I said it. Yeah, I said it earlier for like the New York land, the first meetup. Like the Northeast has a really big CRL presence and a ton of people live there. So we always had really good turnouts for the Boston events too. So we found a local land center. Shout out Balance Patch.
Oh,
I think it's only like a mile away from the venue. They hosted us for the 2 years that Breach was hosting events there. That we just got together the Wednesday night prior to the event and just ran some eights or like a very small scale tourney based on whoever was there, just like a round robin tourney. Streamed it, had a good time, met a couple people that were there for the event, but haven't had success doing it at other events that we've gone to. Like we tried to do it when we went to the Optic Major this past year, but the closest land center to us was like 30 miles away, and it just wasn't gonna work. So shout out Balance Patch, they have a great setup there. They've hosted us, the 2 times. They're great. If Breach ever hosts an event again, we're 100% going back there. It was great.
I mean, it was
I actually love
great.
Balance Patch.
Those VODs are still some of my favorite to this day. Like they had a whole casting setup. Like we casted over.
Yeah.
We had the stream. We had 2 soundproof booths of us yelling at each other like through the booths. Like it was a great time.
I got to shout out one more LAN. We did host a CRL meetup at the HyperX Arena at the Luxor in Vegas for MW2 champs. That had a pretty good turnout too. That was a lot of fun. No stream for that one. It was just a straight up meetup.
All right, next topic. We got the Dynasties. There's not many of them, but we got a couple. Actually, there's literally 2, and an honorable mention that we have written down.
What's the other one? What's the second one?
So number 1 is going to be the Maui Chums from in Cold War season 3, 4, 5, and then Vanguard Spring. Yeah, Vanguard Spring Diamond. Eaton. Or I guess they had like 5 or 6 total players, but the core was like Gother, Crash, and Eaton. Then they had a rotating 4th for a couple of those seasons. But yeah, 3 straight championships in Cold War. Then they skipped the Platinum season for Vanguard Winter due to some team complications, and then they came back in for Vanguard for our initial Diamond launch season and won as the Philly Fighters. But so that's what I would call the first Dynasty. It was like 6 total players. Boozy's, Eaton, and Crash were the 3.
And then it was Sync at the start.
And then like they had Merc. Then Gother came in, and then they had, was it Merc again?
Okay,
it was
so
Merc
I think this is like the flow of it. It was Crash, Boozy's, Eaton, Sync. Well, first of all, I was there before Eaton. I didn't play a season though. Don't get it twisted. But it was Boozy's, Eaton, Crash, and Sync, and then Sync left, and it was Goth, and then it was that team, and then it was that team, and then they dropped Eaton for Merc, and then they dropped Merc for Enzo. I don't remember if they won with Merc or they won with Enzo.
They won with at least with Merc.
They won with Merc and Vanguard. And then I would say they didn't disband, but then they didn't win anything after that. It was actually goes straight into our next Dynasty, which would be the Paris Renegades. 4-time champion. Boys. What was that? The New Mexico boys. So 4-time champion, Vanguard Summer, Vanguard Fall, MW2 Winter in Platinum, because we didn't run Diamond that season. Then MW2 Spring was actually Jake's team that won that, but then they came back and won MW2 Summer. So they won 4 out of the 5 straight seasons before deciding to leave the league. But I'm trying to remember, they had like 5 or 6 people as well. It was primarily Dahmers, and Electric MC, Buki, Super Perp, who I mean is banned now, but he was on the team at the time. And then the Spaghetti.
Oh, Maddie. Don't forget about Maddie.
Yeah, and then Maddie. Yeah, Maddie Mills.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so those were their 6 players, and I'd say like Dahmer's MC, Buki were like mainstays of that team. Though they were the core 3, and then the 4th was kind of rotating. But yeah, I would call them our second Dynasty, and since then, I don't really think we've had a lot of consistency. The Maui Chums, the core of that roster, is actually won the last 2 seasons now of Black Ops 6. They won Diamond Spring, and now Platinum Summer for BO6. So they're kind of going on a run right now too. We'll see how long that lasts going into BO6 or going to BO7 if some new competition comes. And the only other kind of dynasty I'd say we have in quotes is like an honorable mention of the Hawaii boys, we call them. They're a group of 4 brothers that live out in Hawaii, and they've ran it up all the way from bronze. They used to stink it up in bronze. They got good. They won bronze. They would stink it up in silver. They won silver, moved up to gold, stunk it up in gold, won gold, and then moved up to plat. So they've won bronze once, they won silver once, they've won gold once, and they've been a plat runner-up from the end of Cold War all the way up to MW2 summer. So honorable mention for those guys. I think they're one of the only teams that have like stuck together as a core and ran it up all the way through every single division. So those guys have been fun to watch.
They get that honorable shout out to those guys for they literally just went passion has been activated and they freaking grinded out that game. All right, next topic, April Fool's jokes. So this was a late edition because we figured we should probably talk about these. We've had to stop doing it since, but we're going to throw one up this year, but we've made some jokes historically. I mean, the famous one is the one that Jimz posted on our Twitter and announcement about the cease and desist that we received from Activision. That was a whole copy pasta related to that. The problem with our April Fool's jokes is that people seem to take them a little too seriously. So people definitely thought when we posted that the league was shutting down, that we had actually received a cease and desist letter, and that happened. I see Jim's on mute, so I'll move to the next one, and then he can come back to talk about it. The next one we posted was, I think it was in MW2 or Vanguard. I think it was in Vanguard, where we posted that we were going to go back. The league was going to revert immediately back to MW19 and was going to play the rest of that season in MW19. The problem with that one is that 10 teams quit on the spot. Like, we literally immediately, within like 20 minutes, we got like 10 different DMs. This was before the ticket system, of teams being like, yeah, we're just quitting if it's MW19. We're not going back to that game. And we're like, guys, it's April Fool's. Like please. We're not actually going back. No one in their sane mind is going back to MW19. But yeah, no, people took it very seriously off the rip. So that was a little bit awkward. But yeah, we've had to stop doing it for that reason, because people have been taking them too seriously and not realizing it's April Fool's.
No, as we learned over the course of 5 years, people don't know how to read or comprehend. So
yeah, and then there was Scump Retirement Day.
Yep, made a tweet saying matches are canceled due to Scump's retirement. It's now Scump Day, and a lot of people took that seriously. Those were an April
Fool's joke.
No, the Scump one and then the cease and desist thing those were an April Fool's jokes. Those are just tweets, just funny tweets, but they were funny.
All right, moving on. Inception of the Diamond Division. I wish Chair was here to talk about this one, actually, because he was like championing this for years up until it happened.
It was a great idea.
Yeah. The issue is we found out is that the people at the top, if they're at the top, they don't really tend to stick around because they have better things to do than be at the top of the rec league. So there's honestly like the team, like we swing between having like enough for a division and then not being able to field enough teams at that caliber, and then we go down. The idea was basically we wanted to do its own separate division. The original vision was like its own separate division, dedicated streams, stat keeping, like the whole shebang for like the top teams that we'd have in the league. And it was like you would qualify for it, we'd have relegation. Turns out we don't actually need a relegation because 6 of the 8 teams self-relegate themselves anyways. But like, there was a dream. We partially executed on it. Didn't exactly go
the first couple seasons were great.
Yeah, no, when it was peak, it was peak. Like it was really good.
Great for the players, maybe. Maybe a nightmare for Shio and Jimz, though.
Yeah, no, Vanguard and MW2 were a lot of fun to run Diamond for, but as Mike alluded to, like keeping that talent in the league was very difficult because people had better things to do than play for no money. And then all trying to highlight those teams was very difficult because they never stayed on schedule. They would always reschedule. We weren't going to run like a Sunday stream for one Diamond match. It had to be like Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. And people could just never figure it out. Like straight up just could not off the schedule.
When Diamond runs, it's a great time, but when it just like does like this season, or like not this season, but like this year, where it's like people aren't playing on time, the teams aren't that competitive, it's not as fun. Like last season, Diamond, like it was Diamond, but it didn't seem like Diamond.
Next topic.
Yeah, moving on. All right, CRL Hall of Fame. We have, Jimz can lay out the requirements for this one.
Yeah, so there are a ton of people that would be eligible for the CRL Hall of Fame if they actually stopped playing. Like that's my requirement. You actually have to stop playing the game and leave the league in order to be Hall of Fame eligible. There's a million people that will qualify for it if they actually retired. There's only one actual person that in my opinion, would make the CRL Hall of Fame, and that is Eaton. 4-time Cold War champion, season 1 with me, season 3, 4, and 5 with the Maui Dynasty. And I think he got married, had a kid, and just disappeared like halfway through Vanguard. And no one's ever really heard from him since. Even DMs, like he just never came back. He is the only one. He gets on the game. He is. Yeah, I think he gets on the game, but he just doesn't compete in the CRL at all.
Mm-hmm.
So he's the only one I would say that actually would qualify for the CRL Hall of Fame because he actually retired and never came back.
I mean, the next player we have on the list is also technically. Well, I don't know if Jimz has decided if this is fully Hall of Fame or honorable mention.
He would get some votes for Hall of Fame, I think, but it would be 235 his full name 2357 Mags. We just call him Mags. One of the original mods of the league, very, very talented player, just didn't really care to ever form kind of a dynasty or squad. So I don't think he ever ended up winning a championship. But just for his impact on a league, being an OG mod, being a great player, and just for as much as he contributed to the league, he might get some votes for Hall of Fame. I think he's the only other one that like actually left and never came back.
Yeah, he's an interesting figure too, because like he's more of an old head. Like I think he actually competed in AW challengers. And he took a lot of people like me and Zenny under his wing and just like taught us the game in certain ways. So he's definitely.
We teamed with him in Cold War.
Yeah, I know. Like we literally teamed with him, and we just like.
No, I had a team with him too. Yeah, I had a team with him too in season 2 of Cold War, and we got second that season to the Utah guys.
All right. Continue. Infamous Part 1. So these are infamous, usually not for good reasons, CRL members that we'll go through of like people that most people should probably know about. And the first player that we have,
infamous player 1,
is Mr. Super Perp himself.
Oh shit.
Demon.
So Super Perp was part of the Paris Renegades dynasty that we had talked about in this tier. Extremely good player, and it was just like one too many sus clips that we got from him that we ultimately voted to ban him from the league. That said, in 2024 and 25, he started going to more lands and getting his name out there. He's actually competing in person now, so we know nowadays he's not cheating. But
so that's kicking him was probably the best thing for him, because otherwise I don't think he would have ever done it.
Yeah. But it was just one too many sus clips of the guy just snapping weird, looking through a wall. But he was, I think he had either two or three of those championships with the Paris Renegades before we ended up banning him. We banned him. So he would have had 3 of them because we banned him on their fourth run. They brought in their 5th player, and they still ended up winning diamond chumps that season. So that team was still amazing with or without Super Perp. But yeah, just one too many sus clips of him. Glad he's like actually at LAN now and proving that, what he can do on LAN, what he did online.
All right. The next, we're going to have the charity stream is going to be a lengthy topic, but pros starting in the CRL. Most you probably don't remember about this. This was back in like 2022, I think late 2022. I don't know how this started. There was a group of people that were fully convinced that pros started in the CRL. I got a series of questions about which players had started in the CRL, And they named Scrap as one of them, and I forgot who else. I think Hixie was another. And they're like, yeah, these guys start in the CRL. It's like, how do we start here to like do what they did? And I was like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Like, I straight up just have no idea what you're talking about. And these guys there was like a group of like a dozen of them that were just going on and on about how like Scrap like graduated from the CRL. And I was like, do you guys know what the CRL means? Apparently not. But yeah, that was a whole thing for a while of just like all these guys were like, yeah, like Scrap graduated out of the CRL. It's like, Hillside, we can say that players did actually graduate out of the HRL. That did not happen, God side. All right, charity stream
talk.
The OG, the only time it's ever happened. It went a whole 24 hours. We had, we basically went, it was a bunch of, sub donations. We had a whole whack of things going on. But it featured.
Yeah, what were the incentives?
We had a couple, like Jimz. There's a clip of Jimz and Senior doing Chubby Bunny, where they stuff their faces full of marshmallows to cast an S&D round. That was a pretty great one. He got an egg cracked over his head as well. That was another one.
Yep. Egg cracked over the head. Whipped cream pie to the face. Senor ate habaneros.
Max did shots of hot sauce.
Yep.
I remember that one.
So we started really early just with pubs, and then we went straight into the tournament. The tournament was just straight up like 16 teams, best of 5, winners bracket, best of 3, losers bracket, and we just ran that all day. I think that was like a 16-hour tournament.
But then it ended where I was in the finals of this tournament. Then it ended, and then I had to keep streaming because I gave like a lesson on Comp COD, which in hindsight, I was not the right person to do that because I was so dumb and still am not that smart.
Yeah, we did that, and then you handed it off to Ozzy, who did a beat making stream, and then it was
we did a round table
on at like 6 or 7 in the morning. Yeah, for a round table with all the owners.
And this was like Boxing Day, right? Like December 26th or something. It was like it was literally Christmas, like the day after Christmas.
And then one thing I got to say is I have to give Senor his flowers for organizing, because he probably did a good 70 to 80% of all of the organizing that went into that. And I just kind of showed up to cast alongside him. But he did a lot of the incentives. He got the graphics done.
Yeah, he did the graphics and that.
He brainstormed most of the ideas. He was there the entire time on stream alongside me. Got to give him his flowers. He did the vast majority of organizing for that. So,
all right, last topic in tier 2, the 2023 Optic LAN, which I was not actually there for. So this is mostly going to be Jimz.
I wasn't there either. It was
who was there?
It was
the Boston. Yeah, so the Boston Burgers put that one on. It was T-Dub, Moshe, Care Bear, and Cover.
And then there was also Mischief, Morph, and myself.
It was planned well in advance, and the entire Burger team was going to be there. They bought a team pass for the Challengers LAN for the Optic LAN in 2023 MW2. And they had seen the Boston LAN we did earlier that year and wanted to do the same thing. So they went and rented out a space in a local LAN center. And Mischief was playing for Dapper's team at the time. Mischief was also at the event. So Mischief was playing in person. Dapper, Ice, and who was your fourth at the time?
Was it
Dapper?
K-Quick.
Me.
Yeah, it was K-Quick. Those three were playing online. But they got the venue, and played their match in person. Dak, and who was your co-caster? Wags?
I think it was Wags, yeah.
Yeah, they ended up casting the match from the LAN center. It was kind of a perfect storm of everything because it's Wednesday prior to a major, so there's no pro streaming, no notable players streaming the game. So we had like the entire Call of Duty category to ourselves, our most popular stream by far. Nothing's ever even come close to it. Like we peaked over 500 viewers. It ended up going game 5. Dapper and co wanted to make map 5 really, really quick. Unfortunately, it was a 6-2 blowout. But if it went round 11, that would have fed families, I'm sure. And then the only other player at that LAN was Morph. So we followed it up with a diamond match right after. It was the Philly Fighters, right? Was it Philly versus?
No, it was Green Bay versus New York.
Yeah, that's right. So that one ended up being a blowout, but Morph was playing on Green Bay at the time. He was the only other one there. So we got their match on stream too right after. And again, like the most successful CRL stream to date, 500 viewer peak, was a great night. It was really fun.
We're back. So tier 2
We're
done.
back.
Took us a while. Tier 3 is going to be up next. We can finally unveil tier 3. Bunch of items.
Yeah,
This is, what did we list this as? Early Cold War to know this. Oh, we're going way back now.
This is ancient.
Ancient history. But for the record, this is recorded a week after our tier 2 discussion. So the cast here is looking a little
thinner.
Smaller.
A
little thinner. We might have Snoop joining us, but for now it's just the
Mello
four of
may
us.
come in late as well. We might get some late additions, but first item up, EU League. So people, I mean, this has been brought up, I guess, occasionally over the years. But when we started in MW19, we had a European division that was basically strictly managed by Aussie. Shout out Aussie, 10 out of 10 guy. But yeah, the EU division ran until early Cold War. It was kind of becoming difficult to manage due to time differences, and Aussie was kind of getting, I think, tired of some of the demands of the EU side that was going on. We ran a tournament.
They
of
were
nations
some of
for
the
them.
biggest complainers. Some of the biggest complainers in CRL history. All right, I'll straight up say it. They were so annoying to deal with. Partly kind of like our fault because like we didn't give them as much attention because that side of the league was so much smaller, but we gave them everything that they asked for, everything, and they still found a way to complain, and they still would drop out. We've had a lot of people come through in the history of the CRL that ask, like, is there an EU portion to this? Like, yeah, there was, but it'll never really get enough traction to be its own thing again because it was pretty frustrating to run the first time.
Yeah. Like, even at the time, it was pretty hard because half of those guys were actual fathers. We had players like that were having kids literally in the middle of the season. Like, they would just vanish because it's like, oh, my kid was born. We ran the Tournament of Nations, which was actually really entertaining. I won't lie. We fielded enough teams. I should probably look up those docs again someday of like, Scotland, Ireland, like UK. We had like basically just teams fielded from different countries. And then we shut it down. And it spun off into the European COD League that I don't think made it through a season. And then that was the end of it.
We very quickly, I forget who ended up putting that together, but they very quickly started to send us DMs to say, how the hell were you doing this? They did not realize what we were going through and how much everybody complained and how difficult it was. Just to put a small, I think the peak of EU was like 12 teams total.
We got the OG mod team. The first mod team that only Jimz and Snoop are left.
Shout out Snoop.
You could kind of count yourself too, but you were kind of thrust into admin early on.
They promoted me basically off the rip.
Yeah, it was day one, but me, Snoop, and Shio were all day one members of the server.
We are gonna shout out I really hope I didn't forget someone off this list. So we got the European guys of Aussie and Razor. And then we had going NA side, Lug was the shortest tenure, I think. I think he was gone within a month.
We made him a mod. He didn't do anything for a month, and we unmodded him. Or I think he just left the server.
It was pretty quick. With Scoob, T-Bell, Carry, 2 Mags, Senor, Whale Powered. Whale was a late addition. And then Snoop, of course. Yeah, that was the original mod team. We burned them out. We burned everybody out real quick because of the way we were managing the league at the very start. We basically put mods in charge of divisions and they were the ones handling everything for each division. It wasn't a great approach. That was back in the spreadsheet days. Everyone did a lot of work and it was not much. Everyone kind of burned out pretty quick because a lot of people really just wanted to play. Shout out to all of those who suffered through all the early days of the league to get to us where we are now. But yeah, shout out the OG mod team. Never forget the contributions you guys made. We appreciate it. All right, next item, September 2021. The first and only September we ever ran.
The first and only time we ran a September promotion for the CRL. And if you gifted 100 subs, you were able to create your own franchise in the league. So that is where the Denver Surrender, Manitoba Mallards, and Sasky Shotgunners all came from. We had Denver Surrender that Dat created. We have Manitoba Mallards that Graz created, And then we had the Sasky shotgunners that Palm Show created.
All right. Next item on the list, we got Infamous Part 2, or Infamous Bans and Former Players.
Yeah,
First
I
up.
think we talked about this first one. So our first ever ban was a guy by the name of Death Dusk. He wanted to bring in, we only ran mixed at the time, so you can only play with you in a duo. And he wanted to bring in a friend, a third friend, to play with him. And we told him no. And he just said, I'm going to do it anyway. That's really all it was. He just said, I'm just going to do it anyway. And we're like, okay, you're gone. You're banned. I don't know what to say. You're just out of here. You don't want to follow our rules? Okay, you're done.
Yeah, leads that to our first hacking ban, which was Napo Ellis 2021 Cold War, where he basically, the VODs were him staring through walls, him turning around and running halfway across the map to a spawn point, and staring through more walls, and then complaining that he was just really feeling it that day, as he won every 50-50 gunfight if he's guessing where they're coming around a corner possible. That was probably one of the easier ones we've ever had to do. I wish all of them were that easy because he straight up stared through walls.
The easiest. It was the first hacking ban and by far the easiest one to ever recognize that we've had.
We got Valorek Gen Chat. This was the guy that was complaining. I think he was complaining about being catfished or something.
Yes.
And
Oh my
posted
gosh.
a whole list of DMs in Gen Chat, which included him sending a dick pic.
Not to mention that, but wasn't the person who catfished him also underage?
Attempted to expose a catfisher, but also sent a dick pic to somebody that he thought was a 15-year-old girl. Next up, Snoop, we saved the last one on the list for you, so can't wait for you to talk about that one. But we got Blippin' Faith up next, who was absolutely like one of the first. I think he was like one of the first prominent M key players we ever had in the league. He was like an OG MW19 guy. Was one of the only M and key players I believe we had. Absolutely disgusting.
He was probably the best player in the server, and he was on M and K, so he really pissed people off.
Yeah, he looked like a hacker. Like this was like from my POV, someone that just started doing comp COD on console. We load in against this guy who seemingly knows where we all are and is godlike. Like he's insane and is just doing things you've never seen before.
And then turns out he's very racist. So we banned him.
He dropped a couple colorful words in an apes lobby and we banned him. And then like a month later, he came back on an alt.
Which was a little unfortunate because that whole team was OGs and they all got banned. Next one up, one of our favorites, is KMC.
Oh my gosh.
Oh god.
Infamous
forget
across
about
the
this
server for silver for various reasons. Got into a few too many Twitter wars with various CRL people. We hadn't had somebody that inflammatory in silver since like long. And then we just got sick and tired of it. It was getting a little too much and banned. Next on the list, we got Rat Mario, CNK's favorite.
Oh gosh. Yeah, that's my boy. Oh my gosh. That was my teammate for context in Cold War. We won season 5 of Cold War together.
The annoying thing about him, like people had their opinions of him or whatever, but he was like an active member of the community and did like kind of run the 8 scene in here for a little bit. But then he just randomly decided one day to just test out hacks, like very obvious, like probably the second most obvious accusation, clips we've had to ever review.
All right, our next one, and this is a Snoop one for sure. Slinging meat.
So somebody in like an 8's lobby or one of our public VCs was just
I think it was 8's waiting
stroking
lobby.
their shit on video, like in a public Discord channel.
The best part about
Hey,
it
Jake.
is that he was not the only person. Somebody else
There
also
were
whipped it
multiple
out.
It was
Two of
two
them.
people in the same call.
Yep. Next up, we got the fake retirements. Shout out Boozies. Posted a whole video and everything.
Dude, his videos were fire though.
We had an announcement in the server for him, and he was back the next season. Piece of shit.
Dude,
That's when we were like more grassroots though, and
we wanted
I
to
guess
give him
we're
the
still
send off,
grassroots. We were small,
and he is still
Yeah.
playing to this day.
I think he retired on the pretense that Halo Infinite would like steal him away from COD, but it did not have that effect on a lot of COD players. We kind of just stuck to our thing. And then there was the Shio fake retirement.
So I was supposed to actually retire. I was supposed to leave. I'd gotten a new job. So I retired. I was like, I'm done. I'm stepping back. I got to step down. But yeah, and then 2 weeks in, I was like, oh, I can still actually put in the hours. And I came back. Silver server.
Okay.
I'm glad Snoop's here for this one too.
I think the original intention was to give like the lower level players kind of a safe space to do eights with, because like you'd have an eights lobby with a bunch of people that are new to comp, and you'd have somebody like a Boozy's caliber player in there like absolutely fucking trouncing people.
Yeah, I mean that,
and people were like just trying to learn the game and were fed up. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because we have the like the split, like the separate eights now, right? But this was before all that, when it was just like anybody rolls up. And you'd have, you know, bronze and silver players getting railed in there all the time. And that is, I'm pretty sure, the origin of the silver server.
But what went wrong?
But from our perspective, he just kind of went on a power trip and people didn't enjoy it. And then they made their own server.
Yeah. So then actually, fun fact, another server that had the blessing of the owners at the time was the Cool Guys server, which was made in response to it was basically like a mutiny of the silver server. It was a mutiny, like they kind of wanted to keep the same vibe, like a separate, more like invite only kind of CRL server, smaller community, but without, you know, Olong at the helm. It got to a point where it was just too toxic. It didn't really make sense to have a different server. And we ended up banning that member because he, like, you know, maybe tried to steal some players away from the CRL and was running his own league to compete with us, while, you know, still using the branding and the same exact members that used to play in here, is what I saw it as.
And then the last topic, or actually hold on, we have 2 topics left. One I did not include on because it was a late edition, but the one that is on there is the copy pastas. We've had some good ones. I mean, we only have, I think, 2 or 3 listed in this doc right now, but there's definitely way more. And a lot of them we can't repeat because of the stuff that was said in them.
Mellowade's McDonald's is the big one here, but that has so much bad.
That one was so wild, though.
It was.
Can I just read it redacted? Well, not everyone's gonna know the names here, but first one, Jimz, my internet never went out. I can't believe you fell for it. You R word. Kai Daddy, you're a. That one just says slur. I don't know what it actually meant. Mellowade, you're fat as F. You don't even fit. You don't even fit you. Dak, stop being a D writer and get a job, you effing hobbit. At everyone, the actual N word. Ozzy, not gonna read that one. Urgent, you have no friends. KMC, not gonna read that one. You play $30. You pay $30 for a premier team. Congrats! You just gave Mellowade his McDonald's money. I'm reading that one out because Mello makes fun of it all the time. I really hope he's okay with me saying that.
I mean, it's definitely got
trademarks. Not saying that one. Real Ransom, not saying that one.
Oh my god!
At everyone, imagine trying hard as F and Reckley go outside and get some B words. Peace, the little N word part 2. That's probably the most infamous copy pasta we have in the service history. And the only thing that came out, like the only thing that happened is like the dude just lost a semifinal match in playoffs. I think that's all that happened.
To be fair, the I wish you nothing but failure one is also really good. And this was not Mellowade, but this was another Mellow. But this was at his mixed team, I think, where he says, each of you suck, are annoying to play with, and you have no potential. And he goes, Muffin, your internet is shit. Wandy, you play like this shit is Warzone. And Adhaz, you're somehow worse than these two. How are you 1-18 on GB? I wish you all nothing but failure. And that last sentence is just kind of iconic at this point. All right, last item in tier 3, sponsors.
Yeah, it's not actually on the iceberg.
Yeah, I've not updated this iceberg.
We'll talk about it.
The league did have sponsors at one point. We operate on the sponsor policy. Basically, if it's not something that we would use, we don't want to promote it to the community. So our original 2 sponsors were Overpowered Bars and Cinch Gaming, which we had. Overpowered was basically sponsoring all of our round 11. So every time a round 11 happened, you'd get a discount code for Overpowered Bars. I think Snoop, you're the one that mentioned you like know.
Yeah,
these guys?
I set that
Really?
connect up. So I like used to work with the guy that was the co-founder, or he just was best friends with the founder and did like the tech stuff for him, like set up the storefront. So I had an in, like I knew them, and I thought it was a cool product because they sent me some, and I thought they tasted like awesome. It was basically exactly what they marketed themselves as, is like a non-shitty G Fuel, like it was kind of a brownie with a bunch of caffeine in it. At some point, like I followed them for a while and still do. I don't know if they have anything now, but they did go through like a massive rebrand and definitely hired some consultants and stuff. And came out with additional flavors, like new logo, branding, whatnot. And then our other sponsor was the Cinch controllers, which I don't know too much about. If anyone else wants to chime in.
No, it was a typical controller sponsorship. Like they give you a code. If someone uses it, you get a little bit of a kickback from the sale of the product. Just kind of hard to get behind them because Battle Beaver and Scuff are such big players in the space.
Both of these, I think, only lasted about a year. They were both active in Vanguard. Tier 4 is now unveiled. We only got 3 items in here. We got Infamous Part 3, Crazy Tickets, and Finances. Now, don't get too excited. We're not actually talking about the financial state of the league.
Oh, man.
This is more, we are going to have a good laugh at all the finances that people think we have.
Yeah, and the thing about the financial estimates from former disgruntled CRL members is that it's really not hard to figure out how much we make in a season, and every single one has been wrong so far. I think the first one, the most infamous one, is going to be from KMC, who estimated that we make $15,000 per season on pre-made fees, which is just beyond off. It is just so far off. It's not even close. That was also when we would average like 60 to 80 teams a season, not like the 100 plus that we do now. So it was just wildly off. And then the most recent one that comes to mind is Kalito, who believed we made about, I think the number was 6,000 a season. Yeah, that also wasn't accurate either. That was a couple thousand off, actually. That wasn't close. Whether anyone wants to believe it or not, me and Shio have never taken a dime out of the CRL.
And also, I'm going to go, because we're on the topic of finances, I'm going to go on a brief rant here. If you break it down, $30 divided by 7 players is about, what, $420 a person? Maybe a little less?
I don't even think, whenever we talk about how much it costs, we don't even talk about 7, we talk about 4. It's
okay, even 4.
Yeah, it's $7.50 a season for 4 people.
7?
A tiny bit over $1 per week to play here, just for the regular season.
And if you make it farther in playoffs, it's less than that. And if you win, it's free. And people are upset that this is too much money to spend.
Like, not to single people out, but it's always people in like silver or gold that are like, oh, we deserve a prize for this. It's
bronze
like,
and silver.
Yeah. It's like, okay, if you think sandbagging is bad now, imagine if we offered money to the winners. It would be like people would be shameless and do anything it takes for $100.
Every single finals match would be absolutely diabolical.
It would be fucking shameless. The amount of sandbagging that would occur.
If people think the top 2 teams in the championship are sandbagging already, holy crap! Good luck in a prize pool league in bronze, silver, or gold.
Like, we will never offer 100%. A prize pool. It is completely counterproductive to the point of the league. It is going to bring in absolute weirdos that are going to see Rec League and go free cash, which is kind of what it would be to a lot of those players. It would be very free, except that they have to fight each other for it. But it just defeats the whole point of what we stand for. And if people think, like you said, if the sandbagging's already bad enough, those players will no longer play here. Moving on, Infamous Part 3. Number 1 is booing, which was infamous for a few reasons.
This is my most fun one.
So booing came in early on in Vanguard, and he was a mouse and key guy. He was really, really, really good for all the wrong reasons. So he goes into gold lobbies. No one's ever heard of this guy. Innate's dropping 70 kills every single game. Everyone's like, he's cheating. I'm like, okay, I'll give him a chance to stream. a couple times, and then he goes into matches. He's still dropping 70 every single match. I asked him to stream. He doesn't stream. Makes a Twitch channel on the spot, like within a minute of me asking him to stream, and then says this is where the VOD is. The VOD wasn't there, and I banned him. Yeah, so he was in Ransom Squad. Ransom was the one like vouching for him, so much so that they hired a professional, a guy who like you had to pay for a PC check that did kernel level PC checks, and the guy caught him cheating. He had a USB drive that like when you ejected it, it would delete the hacks off of your client, but it was or off of your computer, but it was disguised as a driver for just a standard PC mouse, and that's not a typical driver that gets deleted when something happens on your computer randomly. So to his credit, he was hiding it pretty well. It was pretty cool, like the way it was found out. But yeah, he failed the PC check and got banned everywhere, and then disappeared.
Next on the list, we have Keo/DrewBait/ change his name probably 4 other times, but those are the names that we know him by. Who created the Old Men Rec League, actively poached our members, blew up the league twice, rebranded it twice. I don't know. There's a long list of things
I was putting in
related
work.
to that.
He was putting in work.
It was
Got himself canceled.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
he did
too.
get canceled.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
I do remember that one.
Sometimes you get canceled.
But yeah, there was some friction. He got very upset at me for some reason, and I was named off in a 7-minute Twitter audio clip.
Bro, the Twitter audios went crazy.
I don't actually remember what that was about at this point. I just remember him getting upset at me about some. Oh, it's because I messaged him to tell him to stop recruiting from our league, because he was just DMing like everybody in bronze to be like, come play in my league. One of them, I guess, honestly, he lasted a long time here. He probably should have been gone much earlier than he was, but we did eventually ban him for his Old Men Rec League.
Well, no, he left and came back. I feel like he was like somewhat of an OG. Yeah.
He was like a Cold War, like an early Cold War player, I think, originally.
Exactly, yeah.
And
he was very here early.
Unproblematic at the time, which leads to our other one of, Damaged Incorporated, and they basically straight up copied our logos. They took the Philly Fighters logo officially and made that into their own Philly logo, which involved recoloring the eye. It was literally a 1-to-1 copy of our logo. Crazy tickets.
Yeah,
we received death threats over a recreational league.
And the guy's like, oh yeah, you're not going to be so tough with a bullet in the back of your head.
Yeah, there's been some crazy... I mean, honestly, my memory does not remember all of them, but a lot of tickets over the years have just been like batshit insane stuff. We've had some pretty crazy crash outs. People coming back to ask to come back after those crash outs. We had one where a player, I think it was like an Oregoner, came in basically asking, because they're like, so we heard that this guy's banned from your league, but we want to sign him to a contract and want to make sure like what it was banned for before we sign him to a contract. And
the bronze level
like,
player, by the way.
Yeah, he was like
iron.
Yeah, he was an iron and bronze division player. Apparently, the org only offers contracts to crims, but that was a whole experience of just you're offering like a what now? We had a team asking to play 5v4. That one actually is one of my favorites, because they came in, they're like, so if we have 5 players here, can like all of them play? And we're like, oh, I mean, yeah, like you can swap them between maps. And the guy's like, no, like can we play 5v4? But that was an entertaining.
That's
one.
Awesome. That's so harmless.
It's on you for not showing up with 5, man.
Like, hey, sounds like you don't have 4 friends. All right, this is good. This is good content. Lock in.
Yeah, so we had. Yeah, so I mean, first topic is the ownership transfer. So I mean, recent people don't know, but people way back know that Jimz and I were not the original owners of the COD Rec League. That honor goes to Mellowade, Chair Force One. They were the original creators, the original co-founders, and then they both proceeded to have kids in the span of like 2 months, I think. So temporarily stepped down. I basically took over, and then eventually they were just like, we have other priorities, and transferred ownership. So at the time, Jimz was our head mod. I was basically the head admin, and then they officially transferred everything over. They're just like, we're stepping away. We're going to hand the reins over to you guys. Jimz and I take over as co-owners together, and the league was left in our hands. And then, the website creation was necessary. Honestly, if that website was never built, we would not be here today. We would have burned out long ago because that automated a good number of the things that drove our first mod team into the ground. A lot of the roster management, the scheduling stuff is all built into it. You don't have to rely on spreadsheets anymore. It made things way, way easier. That was built out sometime like end of Cold War,
Season 5
early
Cold War.
Vanguard. Yeah, it was like season 5 of Cold War, I think, where it came into effect and it was like officially online. It made everything easier. It makes the sign up process easier. It was basically a lifesaver, honestly, for the Rec League, because we would not be here if that was the case. But
Yeah, I was about to say, like, if the website wasn't created, y'all would have been done like 3 years
we
ago,
would have
man.
been done. That we would not have survived to this long. Like we would not.
It's also
we would
one
not
thing
be able
that
to sustain it.
really sets the league apart from others. I think it makes it feel more akin to like a game battles or a CMG where it's like a service you sign up for. Other kind of more grassroots leagues are, probably run through the same spreadsheets that we started off of, but it's too much manual effort and it doesn't scale at all.
Yeah, the last topic is the mod mutiny. None of you guys, except maybe Snoop, know about this, but this was our OG mod team.
I was the mutiny, man. Like, I'm the pirate. No, just kidding. You actually had to remind me about what this was, but I remembered.
To be fair, I also forgot this happened because Chair dealt with this mostly. I think I was relatively isolated when this happened. Yeah, I know. I mean, Jimz knows about it. Yeah, it was like the original mods back when we first started charging for the league. And we were putting our OG mod team to work still a lot, and then they weren't getting any of the money. So there was like a separate Discord that spun out of like people that are like, all right, we need to go to the admins and get our share of the pie, essentially, is what I believe ended up going on.
I wouldn't say it was as much of like their share of the pie, but it was the fact that the CRL started charging for pre-made fees, and the rest of the mods just kind of burned out, and the CRL was making money while everyone was burned out. And Corey and Mello, the two owners of the CRL, had just had children, so they weren't involved in anything. But for the most part, it was just like Mike running the entire thing, and everybody was mad about the fact that like they weren't really doing anything because they just had kids, but now the CRL is making money and now they're annoyed.
But yeah, I mean, like the CRL started charging for pre-made fees. Obviously, like that's how any service like this can stay afloat. It's not like the previous owners were pocketing anything. That was all sitting in an account and ended up going towards the website development. So it's not like the mods at the time were pissed that like the fucking owners were potentially taking all the money for their hard work. The mods are the ones dealing with the community and keeping things running and making rosters and everything. So yeah, it wasn't really like a mutiny in that sense. It was more just like, hey, we need some changes.
There was a very official letter, I think, written, and it did result in changes. So, well, that brings us basically to the end of the Iceberg.
Zoom that thing out, baby.
And that does it for the Iceberg video. So thank you everyone for watching. Happy 5 years to the Rec League, and we'll see you in the next season.